The world is changing at breathtaking speeds, with trends and fads popping up and passing away at breakneck pace. Against that backdrop of nearly constant upheaval, we welcome you to the Sunday Scotch Society. Over delectable, sumptuous scotches and with the occasional good cigar in hand, we have open, honest, and uninhibited conversation about whatever strikes our fancy. Whether it's the critical issue of the day or a deep dive down the rabbit hole, we take it all seriously while having a good time. Join us for a stiff drink and a great conversation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sunday Scotch Society. Forgive my obvious, less than stellar presentation, but I am, as many of us are, with the things going around these days. I guess I could say that I'm kind of stuck under the weather, but nonetheless, my name is Quincy Parker. It is my pleasure to co-pilot this journey through as Matthew and I enjoy each other's company and enjoy each other's insights, and occasionally row a little bit. But hey, that's life. Matthew, tell us about yourself. How you doing?
Yeah, man, we're both here suffering a little bit. You from a bug and me from lack of sleep. Other than that, man, hanging in.
Anyway, what you drinking today?
Well, in the grand tradition of bucking tradition, I am having just a sip of Ron Abuelo Año 7 años.
You finally found a good bottle of rum.
What finally, man? This is a staple in my household.
Check it out.
Here in Nassau, which I just happen to be. But yeah, I'm only gonna have just the slightest sip of this before I let you know I am gonna make me what I call island coffee, as a nod to Bahamian coffee.
And what is island coffee?
That's just my particular way of preparing coffee, which is quite strong, with heavy cream, dash of salt, and a little good rum. You may recall Bahamian coffee is with Nassau Royale, which I have to ask, are they still making that?
I still see bottles of it in places, but I don't think those. I think those bottles are from old stock, because as I understand it, getting a bottle of Nassau Royale is increasingly seen as an accomplishment for people, outside the Bahamas, because I don't think they still make it. Well, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. I could do some research, but at the moment, again, I don't have the energy for that. So I'll have to give you just my very rough opinion. And I have to say, Matthew's Island coffee sounds incredibly delicious.
Obviously, I think that it is. And it also helps me knock down these pounds.
Yeah. I am
Well,
gonna have to.
not
the
the
heavy
rum part,
cream,
obviously.
What or the heavy cream part, Matthew?
No. The heavy cream is fine as long as I am already, fat adapted and in ketosis, which I am.
Okay.
So, and I mean, obviously, if you eat too much of anything, you're gonna have too many calories. But as long as I'm within caloric restrictions and I'm burning fat, not carbs, I'm good.
Well, I applaud you for taking control. Uh, I I myself have embarked on a journey of less is more. But over the last 2 weeks, I ain't gonna lie, I've eaten entirely too much, but only but only
Listen,
because it was so delicious.
over the Christmas, man, I gained 20 pounds between November and mid-January. Yeah, I tell you, it was terrible.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going to
That's
say that a third of that was water weight, but still.
yeah. Even so. Yeah. I thankfully the Christmas bulge for me was only about 5 or 6 pounds because
Wow.
I had been
This is
yeah.
clearly the sign of a man who's enjoyed himself, and there's not much cortisol coursing through your body, stopping you from losing fat.
Well, that's the thing, right? It isn't so much losing, it is not gaining, which at the
Yeah.
point
I mean,
is
that's a balance of like,
yeah,
you gaining and losing all the time. The
yeah,
question is, what
yeah,
is the net?
yeah. So technically, I'm still on my journey to my speedos at the end of the summer. So we'll see.
Is today or yesterday the equinox? Something I
I do
usually
not know.
know for sure. It's usually the 21st. I'm gonna look that up. Just to give myself an idea of what sort of deadline you are on, sir, as the weeks dwindle away.
Yeah. By the end of August, I intend to do my shoot.
All right.
And by which I mean a photo shoot wearing only my orange Speedos.
Mm-hmm. Equinox.
hmm So we shall
Photo
see.
shoot. Yeah, it was the
And if,
21st.
yeah,
No?
which is yesterday. Yeah.
Sorry. No, it was the 20th this year.
Oh, okay. hmm
It's 21st of June is going to be solstice. Yada yada. Well, keep me in suspense no longer. What is this dear beverage that you are so looking forward to and holding out on us on?
It is an entry level Balvenie, the Balvenie Doublewood 12. So that's a 12-year-old single malt that has been uh, aged in oak and then finished in sherry casks.
I've been
That
meaning
is,
to ask.
mhm.
These oak these are generally white oak or
Yeah, white oak generally. The the standard for most single malts is American oak, but some of the more refined, and here you can insert the word expensive, single malts and blends, you use French oak, which has less of a vanilla sort of flavoring that it imparts to the spirit. And so yeah, that's what I'll be drinking today. Uh it is one of the creations of the Balvenie distillery's former malt master David Stewart. Um and I think I may have mentioned this on the show before. Uh, Probably the last time I talked about Balvenie, because this is kind of a distinction that the Balvenie distillery and David Stewart uh, own in the single malt whiskey business, is that Mr. Stewart was the one who created the process known as wood finishing in 1982.
mm,
Uh, so prior to that, there was not this uh, insistence on finishing your spirit in any particular type of wood. I imagine that it was just whatever the standard wood is in your area. But yeah, Brother Stewart decided that he was going to finish the 1993 offering in first in the American oak, and then next in some casks that had housed sherry from Spain, Jerez to be exact. And that's a nice bit of history.
Well, I don't remember you bringing up the Balvenie before, but I can say that I am a fan of this label. And this is it's to my taste. Let me just say that.
Well, that's good. That's good. Because one of the things that I want to talk about, and you may remember, this may spark your memory, is that there's sort of I call this an entry level because the different age expressions of the Balvenie are some of them aged in different woods, and the next one is a 14-year-old that's aged in French oak, which is exquisite. And then there's a 16-year-old aged in Caribbean rum casks, I believe, which is also delicious. And then there is what was for a long time my favorite whiskey. It is the 21-year-old aged in port pipes. So it aged in the barrels.
Did you say pipes?
That's what they call them. It's another name for a barrel.
Okay.
And yeah, but it had port in it. The barrels had port in them, and that's really it is probably, it's still one of my top three scotches. But for a long time, it was my absolute favorite. So I'm now going to do the thing. Oh, man, as soon as you open it up, the nose is just so nice. The first impression you get from the nose is sweetness. And then when you pour it, the next big sort of thing on the nose is spice, but not a sharp spice. Not quite as distinctive as cardamom, and not quite as pointed as black pepper. Maybe like a red peppercorn type spice, you know? And then of course the ethanol is present. It is a single malt whiskey after all. It's 40% alcohol by volume, which means it's 80 proof. So that's about standard for a single malt whiskey. And I'm having this in one of my favorite tumblers, and I'm having it neat today. And I can't wait to dive in.
Awesome.
In fact, I will go ahead and dive in now. Yeah. Good Lord, I needed that. Oh, that was so good.
Sausage life.
Yeah, boy. So the first cask that it's aged in is the traditional whiskey casks. You know, these are the traditional oak casks that they usually give the spirit, they mellow it out so it's not quite so sharp. And as it matures, you get your vanilla spices and I think maybe that's where the red peppercorn spiciness is from. And then the second cask is the sherry casks. And these sort of increase the complexity of it. This is where the fruity notes and the honey notes are coming from that I am sensing on the palate. The finish is nice and long. It's we talk about the Kentucky kiss, where you feel that bloom of heat, warmth in your chest. Definitely getting that. Mm. Oh yeah. So it's it's 12 years is the way the age statements work is that they usually use the youngest whiskey to say how old it is. Because remember now, even though these whiskeys are called single malts, they're not all from a single barrel. Something that is from a single barrel will be called a single barrel expression. What single
A
malt?
single source, as in distillery. Yeah.
Right, exactly. A single distillery. So they'll use many different barrels to create, and that's the job of the master blender to write a symphony of flavors using the different instruments that the different barrels represent. And so after it's aged in the traditional oak casks and then aged in the sherry oak casks, then those aged spirits are transferred into large oak vessels called tuns, and they spend a couple of months, 3 or 4 months in there to marry and let the flavors meld and become the Balvenie 12-year-old doublewood. And my drinking experience is certainly reflective of all of that care and all of that attention to detail. So as I go for my second sip, I would like to raise a glass to Ian McDonald, who's the head cooper. He's in charge of the barrels at the Balvenie. Ian, you did a good job with these. Oh, I mixed the. I'm looking back at my notes, and I mixed up the age and the wood in the others in terms of the Balvenie cask finishes.
Mm.
The 14-year-old is the one that's aged in Caribbean rum casks, and the 16-year-old is the one that's aged in American oak and then French oak. And then the Portwood is the 21-year-old, as I said. All right, so that's me.
Awesome.
Oh, one last bit of, I guess, surface journalism. A lot of the times, people talk about where the whiskey is from, whether it's a Speyside whiskey, whether it's an Islay whiskey, whether it's you know what I'm saying. There are other places that whiskey is made. In the Highlands, the whiskeys all tend to have similar flavor profiles, and the Balvenie is a Speyside whiskey. which is in the sky. The Balvenie is a Speyside whiskey, which means it's a Highland whiskey that is crafted from waters in the River Spey or by the River Spey. And that's, I think that it's important to point out to whiskey drinkers that the Balvenie is a Highland whiskey. So the flavor profile will probably be, if you've had Highland whiskeys like Glenmorangie or Glenlivet, Glenfiddich, the flavor profile will be very similar to those. They don't taste the same, but you can tell that they're from the same place. So there's my last little bit of service journalism.
Fair enough. Well, I'm just going to quickly do this thing because this is a regular on the show.
For good reason, I think.
And I'm just taking out the tiniest of sips anyway. Although, the bloom on the nose is it's that sort of deep fruity flavor without being too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying flavor, but this is on the nose. It's just familiar to, anyone with a good sipping room in their cabinet.
One of the things that I love about the Abuelo is I get the sense, and I wonder if you would agree, that you could almost taste sugar cane in it.
Yeah, but it's like you know what this is? This is carefully browned bananas with a hint of butter about to be put on an ice cream sundae.
Wow. Okay.
And the finish is just an extra warmth. Not in the whiskey kind of warmth. This is softer. This is more of a comforter as you're about to eat that ice cream sundae on a cold day. When's the last time you had ice cream on a cold day?
It's been a very long time.
All right. So what's on your mind this week, man?
Man, listen, you won't tell me but toffee and
That's not what I'm feeling right now. I gave you the high notes.
mm-hmm. Well,
I've been hitting my island coffee before this, so that's probably
yeah.
got a lot to do with which flavors are coming out to me. But I'm always
the carefully browned bananas is definitely a thing, though.
Yeah, that's really, I like to go on how it makes me feel.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly the flavors and all the notes and everything are very important. But at the end of the day, why do we do anything? We do stuff to make us feel a particular way. Sometimes because we feel a particular way.
Agreed. Like drinking this Balvenie because I was like, you know what?
You need this today. I feel you, man.
My cupboard has a bunch of different spirits in it, but I didn't feel like any of those. The closest to what I thought I might want is the Leyenda from so sorry, from the folks in the Dominican Republic. We'll talk about that another time. But on final analysis, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to drink the Balvenie. That's what I'm in the mood for. But had I had a bottle of the Ron Abuelo 7-year-old, I might have made that my choice as well.
Hey man, It's a trusty friend.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things I like about them, we like the story, right? Is that Abuelo is one of the few distilleries in Panama that still grows their own sugar cane. You know,
Really?
yeah. So
I feel
to
like I
me,
knew that and forgot it, and I'm glad for it because then I can keep finding it out.
yeah, I just I like that part of the story. And earlier you asked me a hard question, so I'm going to turn it back to you.
What?
Uh, yeah, that's, I mean, you know, you have the prerogative to answer or not. But what, Matthew B. Kelly, is on your mind this fine day in this beautiful country where we live?
Sailing.
Oh my God.
As much as I like
Say,
you, sir, I would rather be in the water right now.
listen to me. Listen to me, my brother. I started doing a series of posts on my socials, and I'm calling the series "No Filter, No Need," and it's just images of our water and the different elements of the flora and the beach culture of the Bahamas. Because driving along the coast in Nassau is an exercise in restraint because you got to keep going and you can't just stop and go run in the water. You know, I'm not rich enough for that yet. But trust me, like there's that meme going around: when I'm rich, there'll be signs. Yeah, when I am rich, there will be signs, and one of those signs will be you will be hard pressed to find me outside of the water.
I look forward to Wrinkly Quincy.
John, listen to me. So is sailing reference to an activity that you are recently did or something you have planned, or is it just aspirational?
I've been contemplating for a few years the cheapest, fastest way to get on the water. And while I've been contemplating, I've not been on the water. So I recently made a decision as to what tiny little craft I'm gonna get. So I could just mount that up on top of my vehicle, push out there whenever I want. But I have been observing some of the other craft at the end of the island. There's that great what is the name of that point where you get to pull off at the end of Eastern Road there?
What
Culver's Point.
Hulbert's?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. Culbert's Hill is right there. So I wonder who Culbert was. I don't care. But there it is. Oh, that's hilarious. So when was the last time you were on the water?
Um, God. I mean, I'm not counting traveling boat trips. I don't know. I gotta go deep into memory, man. I can't say offhand. That's how bad it is. I'd probably say, when was that blood moon? 2018? 20, somewhere around there. Got to go out by Athol Island in the nighttime to view the blood moon.
Being on the water at night is beautiful, man.
Hmm. The
Mm-hmm.
phosphorescence in the water too. It's pretty cool. Went for a
Mm-hmm.
dive. Well, a swim. That's very
Yeah,
freaky.
the last.
That wasn't
It'd
Did not spend long in the water.
be terrifying. What do you mean? which is hilarious because when we were kids, going swimming at night was like that was just a ritual. It was part of life.
Oh, okay. See, no, your strain has less fare than what is
Yeah,
built in to me, I think.
maybe, but
Or a
but
ritual
it's
to go swimming at night? Nah, you gotta be
yeah,
crazy.
man.
No, sir.
Up until I was in my late teens, I remember one time. Oh, wow, this tells you how old I am. But back when the Cable Beach Strip looked nothing like it does now, when there was a Cable Beach Strip before Bahamar, years and years ago, I remember with one of my very good friends, we went to dinner and then we went uh, to sit out on one of the piers out behind the hotel. I think it was the Crystal Palace. And the water just looked so good. We took off our clothes and just went swimming.
Yeah.
And to go swimming in the starlight in Bahamian water is an experience, my brother.
Oh,
It is.
I agree. However,
Mhm.
I'd be far more likely to do it under those circumstances than to jump off of a boat at 10 p.m. under the blood moon on the northern side of Athol Island again.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Uh, I hope that one day soon you will root out the basis of that fear and pull it directly from your brain and flush it down the toilet so you can go swimming at night as a grown man
Uh,
with no
no,
fear.
no. What do you, what? No. You get one of these crazy tourists who like, just like, oh, in the Bahamas, it's paradise. Nothing bad happens here. Or, or even worse, my friend used to work in Atlantis, in the aquarium, and some tourists would come by. It was not an uncommon question. Are the fish real? Sir,
Wow. Okay.
sir, there are flying tigers
Wow.
and bears in the sea, and and I want to at least have the most minute of chances to see them coming. I shall not be getting rid of that fare, sir. That is a useful fare.
It is. It absolutely is. I would never say otherwise. Nonetheless, it is preventing you from indulging in what I would argue is one of your birthrights as a solid Bahamian man.
That's fine. I did it. I'm good. I don't have to keep indulging.
What a pity. What a pity.
Not for me.
No, I guess not. Ah, oh man. But it's a thing that actually I mentioned it on the last pod is that by and large we don't seem as a community and as a culture to be as interested in the sea as we used to be. I remember, and it may be because I was a kid, but I remember every week, at least once a week, we went to the ocean as a family. Uh, on in the summers, I was in the water every day, and as I drive past the beaches now, only occasionally do I see people enjoying the sea. You know what I'm saying? And keep in mind that I am noting that I'm driving past because I got to go to work or I got to go do something or whatever the case may be. But that just it that seems like a loss to me. And I may be over romanticizing it. Um, of course, on public holidays, you can't find a square patch of sand to sit on any of our publicly accessible beaches, which is another thing.
I want
But
you to know something, sir.
go ahead.
And this is no dig to Nasuvians. I'm not attacking you, okay? But
Why do I feel attacked already, though?
you have to understand, right? The simple reason you don't see people out there is the demands of modern life in Nassau, okay? This is not a town to live in. If you could snap your fingers, would you stay here? Now, many people may say they'll stay in the Bahamas. Who is going to choose unless the snapping of the fingers makes them multi-decker millionaires, right? Because there's at least three different levels to Nassau. I understand. It's a different place if you're rich. But no one of median income in their right minds is going to say, if I could snap my fingers, I'd be right here. Tell me I lying.
You lying.
Nah, I ain't lying, bro. I am not lying. Listen.
I didn't say I believe it. You said tell you lying, so I was
Oh,
following
okay.
instructions.
Fair enough.
If I had my druthers, I would. There's a couple of places in Exuma, and the beach. Well, not the beach, but the place in Cat Island called Orange Creek. Those are the places that I used to say that I'm planning to retire to Orange Creek, but my baby brother pointed out that I come from Exuma's bosom. And as an Exuma boy, I cannot be out there telling people I'm going to retire to Cat Island.
Really? Is that true too, though?
Is what true?
That you are from the Exuma's bosom?
Yeah,
What branch?
my mother is a role
Mm-hmm.
from Mount Thompson,
Right.
Rollville, Georgetown, you know, and that is, in my view, that's the heart of Exuma. And I love Exuma to distraction. It is one of the most amazing places in the world. Uh, and there are a couple of places where I could easily see setting up a little cottage uh, and living the rest of my life out on my own personal dock fishing or out in the water swimming. I don't know that I want a boat because unfortunately boat stands for bring on another 1,000. And as 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 much money as it takes to keep a boat, I think I could use that money to have other experiences and then rent a boat when it's time. So
Yeah.
that's
Uh,
that's that's how I
I can't
plan to do
disagree with
that.
that, but it all
Mm.
depends on what is a boat to you, right? And I tend to go with the Captain Jack Sparrow definition. And so,
A boat is
what do I
freedom.
really need out of it? I don't want something that I have to pay dockage fees for and haul and clean the bottom and change the rigging every 10 years and this and that and the next. And what's the simplest thing? This is why it took me so long to make a decision. So I'm gonna have the most simple thing that requires the least amount of upkeep and enjoy myself. But yeah, if you need your boat to have a 150 on the back and be wide enough to just chill and not feel the waves, that's a different sort of thing. I don't even know if I could call that a boat.
Yeah, I guess.
That is a yacht.
Yeah, those things are something else. I went on one of the mega yachts. So as a journalist, you get invited to things, and I remember boarding this mega yacht for lunch and a tour. This guy was in town for some convention business thing, and he's like, "You guys want to go out on my yacht?" And let me tell you, that yacht was a hotel.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Do I want one of these? I think I might want one of these." And then I quietly looked up how much it cost. And I was like, "I don't want one of these."
No, sir.
Yeah. No. A little 20-foot something would be fun, man. But anyway, there it is. Do you believe that it sounds like you're saying that Nasuvians are not really living the Bahamian life? Do you believe that other Bahamians are?
I mean, not in the complete ideal that you're talking about. I think that's a romanticized nostalgia, not even a fully remembered experience necessarily. Um, I mean, some more so, but
Maybe it's better to ask this. On the pod, I know I've given my definition of quote unquote the Bahamian dream, but what do you think the ideal, and I accept that this is, you know, whatever, however you describe the question, but what do you think the ideal Bahamian life is?
category error. I can't. I can tell you for me. That's it. I can't even tell you for my wife. But for me, um, at least 20 acres so that I could be right smack dab in the middle and not have to hear, see, speak to anyone until I feel like it. I don't want to hear your car passing, the occasional light aircraft propeller noise. That's fine. That's quaint. Um, and it's being able to go down to the sea, be in nature, be quiet, uh, and then engage in town, every so often. But like I have serious problems about the way that this town is. The problem is not New Providence or Nassau uh, as a place, as a location. Let me say that. But it is as a place. A place as in this is how things are laid out. This is how things work. This is the infrastructure and the culture around it, etc. Um, yeah, but just nice, slow, quiet living where you could decide, okay, I want a little excitement now. Let me go get that. But it's not shoved in your face every day. You got to get up, fight an hour traffic. Um, well, actually, twice a day. Uh, risk your life on the jitney, risk your life in front of the jitney. Uh, wonder if somebody can thief your battery or whatever you got this time. It's your scooter. Let me see. What else I got thief for me? All sorts of things, man. If tonight can be the night where somebody can break in and you're gonna have to commit manslaughter in defense. You know, I don't want any of that. So what I want is the quiet life.
Do you agree that the ideal, and I accept that this is a romantic question, and I apologize for asking a romantic question to such a practical man, but do you agree that the ideal Bohemian life should center the ocean?
That is such. I assume by center you mean consciously put in the midst of. Um, let me make sure I get that interpretation correct first.
Yeah. For the purposes of this question, yes, that's what I mean.
To the degree that people should be more aware, yes. But again, um, that's down to personal taste. Like, I can't tell you if you don't like the sea, you must center the ocean. These things don't, contrary to popular belief, quote unquote, run in the blood. People born with different personalities, man. Let them have it. That's fine. It's great. On average, should we center the ocean more? Yeah, man. Yeah, I think not only would be good for the culture, but in most instances, it'd be very beneficial to someone. The amount when I was growing up of girls who could not swim was scary. I mean, it was appalling, but it was also very scary. At least one girl drowned because a lack of those skills when I was growing up in Harbor Island. Um, so practical skills and the enjoyment that it affords you, even if you don't want to jump in the sea in the middle of the night, like some people, uh, I think it'd be good for us. But, again, to each their own. I certainly wouldn't prescribe anything in particular for people, but for any individual, that is. But as a people, oh God, yes. I mean, this very sillily laid out town that is essentially the Bahamas just by population. Yeah, man, it'll drive you to drinking.
I feel like somehow this may, well, I don't know that it'll engender an argument, but I want to posit something to you. If you are a Bahamian, you should be able to swim. You should be able to fish. And you should be comfortable with eating from the land, whether that's the dillies, the long peas, the pigeon peas, the whatever else is, the coconuts, the stringy mangoes, not the Hayden mangoes that we imported. I don't know.
So you think the mangoes are indigenous,
Uh,
or does
maybe.
it only matter what was there in the time frame that you're thinking about?
Yes, it only
No,
matters in
okay.
the time frame that I'm thinking about.
All right. Just be clear.
Mm-hmm.
The Hayden mangoes that we imported. That's funny.
And the Haas avocados that we also imported.
Yeah, they just infuriate. There's no reason to buy those. I don't, unless avocados are totally out of season and you must have. But that's just a fluke of nature that allowed for mass shipment.
But you bring up the other point, which is to refine the point that I was making. You should be able to fish. You should be able to swim. You should know the seasons of your native indigenous fruit and vegetables, and you should be comfortable with harvesting and consuming them. And I don't think that many of us uh, would meet that criteria.
Should is such a hard word, man.
That's why I say
Would these
it's a
things be
romantic
nice?
question
I
right there.
mean, yeah, sort of in your mind from past conversations, right? You think every Bahamian should have a nice yard with a bunch of fruit trees in it, right? And some of these vegetables growing and et cetera, right? And that's just not practical. And I'm all for a nice city life too. I my complaint is that we don't have that here. We don't have a properly set up city, as it were. We're too big to be island as an island life, and we're too small as to be properly a proper metropolitan space. We could, with aspirations towards being cosmopolitan, even, but just the even big village life of a French town, or well, I mean, any of the European ones, right? Or the Japanese ones. I can't really speak for Korea, not familiar enough. Um, you know, they certainly have their horror cities as well, but if you take Tokyo, which is like what's Tokyo up to now? Like 18 million people?
Yeah,
I
about
gotta quickly
18.
look it up. They still have better life than us in what are we officially at now? Did we hit 300 officially yet?
No.
Yeah, the, the way this place is laid out is just jokey.
Yeah.
You can't just live your life, walk around the corner, get some groceries, uh, not be harassed, have a terrible neighbor with no recourse except in escalating your your minor tiffs. Um, it's just ugh. I don't know, man. This place is such a body.
I'm sorry you feel that way, sir.
I
It
mean
is
that
hilarious to listen.
I
It is
feel that way,
hilarious to
but
listen to you.
there's also empirical evidence. You see other people around here being crazy, but come on, man.
And yet, when my friends and associates uh, come to the Bahamas,
Oh, a visit. Let's
and
see how we're gonna weight this.
however long they stay, they're they don't if they come to Nassau, they talk about how relaxed the pace is, even in Nassau. If they go to the family islands,
And like,
they talk about, oh my God, it's so peaceful. The pace is so slow. I love it. But even as brutal as you describe Nassau as being, is seen by people from other more metropolitan cities to be
for,
quite
I
lazy.
don't accept the premise there because I don't think that they're visitors. They're not living that life. Okay. But
But what about those who do live here?
even if that is the case, right? Uh, if you move from
What about
you
those
pick
who come
pick
here
whatever
from
city, pick whatever city, and they say, "Oh, the pace there is
Toronto?
much slow." Okay,
Yes.
so this is a less hellish landscape. Wow, that's a great seal of approval.
Wasn't talking about approval, Matthew. Wasn't the approval wasn't the point. The point was relativity.
Yeah, first level of
That's
hell
all.
versus the second level of hell.
I as much as I share your antipathy towards Nassau to a degree, I cannot bring myself to call it hell yet. I can call us demons.
You've been to paradise and you can't call this hell.
Yeah, no,
Which is not to say that there aren't worse hells, but
yeah, this ain't hell.
this place ain't making no sense, but
this ain't hell. This is a neighborhood in heaven that is degenerating
no,
very rapidly,
no,
but it is not yet hell.
no. That's just myopia. You
Well,
you
I
cannot.
do wear a very strong prescription, so quite possibly. Quite possibly. But the problem is, if I call it hell, then I give up on it. And,
Do it, sir.
and then I try to abandon it, because who wants to
Feel the
live in hell,
freedom.
right?
No, you don't need to abandon it.
Well, what's
But
the point of staying if it's hell?
listen, just embrace
Not a day like
giving
it.
up.
Not a
Just
day like
embrace
it.
it. Dude, you're gonna feel.
Not a
Listen,
day
there's
like it.
such freedom. There's
No, sir.
such freedom, right? There's no way in hell that you're gonna stop caring. All right? I'm simply prescribing to you a way for you to reset, for you to gain back your humanity. All right? To center your locus of control within yourself and stop worrying about the madness that is NASA that you cannot change right now in the medium term. Okay? I'm just telling you, embrace letting go. And then you can come back to it. You know you will. It's in your nature. I'm not telling people to give up hope completely forever. But when you stop caring so much about everything and everyone else around you and just focus on you and yours for a little bit more, you'll get some perspective. And when you come back to it, you will care less about the things that don't actually matter as much as you thought they did. Tell you, man.
I am going to close this conversation by quoting Captain Jack Sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
No cause is lost if there is but one fool left to fight for it.
Mm-hmm. There are many fools right now. You don't have to be the one. That's what I'm telling you. You take a break and come back.
Maybe. Anyway, as usual, thank you for a great conversation, sir. I am going to finish my Balvenie 12-year-old double wood and look out at this beautiful sun and these palm trees and these pine trees and this soursop tree that are rustling in the breeze. I'm going to smell, well, I can smell nothing because my nose is stuffed solid, but I'm going to imagine that I can smell the salt on the sea breeze, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day. I wish you the same, sir.
I thank you, and I hope that you do enjoy the rest of your day, as I hope anyone who's listening do the same.
Indeed. It is my commitment to live in paradise like I belong here. Not like I'm trespassing or snuck onto somebody else's property.
I mean, you do belong here. There's no effort required.
Yeah,
Just
you
let
would
go.
think so. You would
Just let
think
go.
so. Yeah, you try to stop it. Anyway. Have a good day, bro.
You too, man.
Best to the family.
Same to yours. Ciao.
That's that obvious.
Yeah. Check it out.